Alright, let's cut the crap and get straight to the point. What happens when disaster strikes and FEMA comes knocking on your door? Here's the deal. FEMA agents have the authority to demand entry into your home and inspect your food, water, and other supplies. They don't give a damn about your well-being. They just want to take what you've prepared for yourself and your family. Now, the big question is, how do you protect your stockpile from these agents? You need to know your rights and be prepared to stand your ground. Forget the niceties, this is about survival. When FEMA comes calling, you need to be ready to defend what you've worked hard to put aside for a crisis. It's important to understand that FEMA's actions during emergencies can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, they are tasked with providing essential aid and resources to those affected by disasters. However, their heavy-handed approach and perceived disregard for individual rights have led many to view them with suspicion and distrust. This is where knowing your rights becomes crucial. While FEMA agents may have the authority to inspect your home, they cannot simply barge in without your consent. You have the right to refuse entry unless they have a valid warrant or exigent circumstances that justify immediate action. Stand your ground, but do so firmly and respectfully, as confrontation with government officials can have serious consequences. It's also important to consider the broader context of FEMA's role and the reasons for its creation. FEMA was established in 1979 by President Carter to centralize the government's approach to emergencies, as the previous system of over 100 different agencies dealing with disasters was a disorganized mess. The goal was to streamline disaster response and ensure a more coordinated and effective effort. However, over the years, FEMA has faced its fair share of criticism and controversies. From the slow and ineffective response to Hurricane Katrina to the ongoing concerns about the agency's handling of emergency supplies and resources, FEMA's reputation has taken a hit. This has only fueled the suspicion and mistrust that many Americans have towards the agency. Ultimately, this is a serious situation that requires careful consideration and preparation. No sugarcoating, no beating around the bush. When disaster strikes and FEMA comes calling, you need to be ready to defend your rights and protect what you've worked hard to put aside for a crisis. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and be prepared to stand your ground, but always with a level head and a respect for the law. When disaster strikes, the public often looks to the government's Emergency Response Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to manage the chaos and aid in the recovery process. The idea behind FEMA's creation was to make disaster response more effective and coordinated. By having a single agency in charge of coordinating the various federal, state, and local resources needed to respond to crises. However, the reality of FEMA's performance during disasters is often quite different from what you might expect from the government's designated emergency response organization. Numerous reports have documented FEMA's failures and inadequacies in the face of major disasters, such as its much-criticized response to Hurricane Katrina in 2005. In the aftermath of a catastrophic event, the situation can quickly turn dire. Emergency services become overwhelmed, and suddenly, a FEMA representative accompanied by law enforcement shows up at your door. Instead of offering the much-needed assistance, they demand to enter your home and inspect your stockpile of food, water, and other essential supplies. This unexpected and heavy-handed approach by FEMA representatives feels like an invasion of your privacy and personal rights. You're left wondering why the very organization tasked with providing aid and support to disaster-stricken communities is now seeking to take away your own personal resources, which you may have painstakingly accumulated in preparation for such an emergency. The reason for this unexpected turn of events is the declaration of martial law by the government. Martial law is a drastic measure that grants the government extraordinary powers during times of crisis, often at the expense of individual rights and freedoms. When martial law is enacted, the military steps in to restore order and ensure public safety, even if it means overriding the regular laws and civil liberties that citizens are accustomed to. This means that your familiar rights and freedoms, such as the right to privacy, the right to free movement, and the right to own and use your own property, can vanish in an instant. The government, through the military, now has the authority to dictate how you live your life, where you can go, and what resources you are allowed to possess, all in the name of preserving public order and security. The implementation of martial law during a disaster can be a deeply unsettling and disorienting experience for the affected population, as they find themselves suddenly thrust into a situation where the normal rules and protections they once took for granted no longer apply. This can further exacerbate the already chaotic and stressful conditions caused by the disaster itself, leaving individuals feeling powerless and uncertain about their future. When martial law is declared, the government is granted sweeping powers that override the usual rights and protections of the citizens. This sudden and dramatic shift in the balance of power can have far-reaching consequences for the everyday lives of the people. Under martial law, the government can enter private property without any legal barriers and confiscate whatever resources they deem essential for the emergency response. This includes seizing food, water, medical supplies, and even personal belongings, all in the name of restoring stability and order. This effectively resets the foundations of society, stripping away the fundamental rights and freedoms that individuals have come to expect, such as the freedom of speech, the right to privacy, and the sanctity of private property. The primary objective of the government during a martial law scenario is to exert tight, centralized control over the entire population. They will restrict the movements of citizens, dictating where and when they are allowed to go, and may even impose travel bans in certain areas. The flow of information will also be tightly regulated, with the government censoring speech, media, and any form of dissent or propaganda that could potentially disrupt the calm facade they are trying to maintain. Furthermore, the government may attempt to disarm the public during these crises, confiscating firearms from lawful owners. This is a controversial move that sparks debates around individual rights and public safety. The government may also seek to control access to essential supplies like food, water, and medication, making the population dependent on the state and further solidifying their grip on power. This comprehensive approach to asserting absolute authority during times of crisis or civil unrest is a fundamental shift in the balance of power between the government and the people. The normal freedoms and protections that citizens have come to expect are put on hold, replaced by the government's unwavering control and the suspension of basic rights. The implications of such a drastic measure can be far-reaching and long-lasting, with the potential to profoundly impact the fabric of society itself. Individuals and communities must adapt to secure their well-being in the face of unpredictable challenges and potential crises. Agencies like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, could significantly reduce personal freedoms and self-sufficiency, as their primary objective would be to maintain public order and ensure the safety of the masses. This centralized control could come at the expense of individual liberties and the ability to independently provide for one's own needs. In such a scenario, securing your own stockpile of essential supplies becomes a crucial strategy for survival and resilience. Concealing your resources through the creation of hidden rooms or secret compartments can help protect your access to necessities. When distribution is restricted and subjected to government oversight, this approach can provide a valuable safeguard against the possibility of having your hard-earned provisions confiscated or rationed by authorities. If you want to effectively protect your resources, you must adopt a strategic mindset. Anticipate potential challenges and proactively take steps to secure your essentials. By doing so, you'll have a better chance of maintaining your independence and overall well-being during times of crisis or instability. One potential solution is to consider building a subterranean bunker in your backyard. These hidden underground structures can discreetly store your supplies, shielding them from prying eyes. Constructing such a bunker doesn't have to be an exorbitantly expensive endeavor, and I can provide you with a detailed step-by-step guide if you're interested in pursuing this option. The key to successful supply concealment is to make it as challenging as possible for FEMA or other unwanted visitors to locate your stockpile. They will likely focus their search efforts on the most obvious places, such as the kitchen, pantry, or garage. However, if your supplies are cleverly hidden, they might just overlook them, especially if the authorities are operating in a hurried or chaotic environment. As an additional layer of protection, it is advisable to spread your storage locations out, rather than consolidating everything in a single place. This approach can help reduce the risk of your entire stockpile being discovered and potentially confiscated. By diversifying the locations where you store your essential items, you can increase the chances of maintaining access to at least a portion of your resources, even if some of your hiding spots are compromised. Remember, the goal is to take proactive measures to safeguard your ability to provide for yourself and your loved ones, even in the face of potential disruptions to the normal distribution of goods and services. By implementing strategic hiding techniques and diversifying your storage locations, you can enhance your resilience and increase your chances of weathering any crisis that may arise. Having a robust emergency preparedness plan is crucial in today's uncertain world. Diversifying your backup options is key to ensuring the security of your valuable supplies. By keeping your emergency stockpile distributed across multiple locations, you can deter potential threats and maintain your hidden reserves. This multi-layered approach to preparedness can provide an added layer of protection, making it more challenging for anyone to gain full access to your entire inventory. When selecting hiding spots for your supplies, consider less obvious places like attics, basements, or even secret compartments within your home. This can help conceal your essential preparations, from food and water to firearms and other valuables. By keeping a low profile and avoiding any public display of your prepper status, you can minimize the risk of becoming a target during a crisis. It's important to stay informed about your legal rights and the protocols governing emergency situations in your area. Understanding the circumstances under which authorities may have the right to access your supplies can help you navigate potential encounters with FEMA or law enforcement. Remain calm and cooperative, but be prepared to employ discreet measures to protect your resources without escalating the situation. Surrounding yourself with a small, trusted circle of associates can also play a crucial role in your overall preparedness strategy. This can help prevent unwanted attention and prevent you from becoming the go-to resource for your community, which could quickly deplete your carefully curated supplies. By maintaining a discreet and self-sufficient approach, you can increase your chances of weathering any crisis successfully. Remember, the key to effective emergency preparedness is a comprehensive and well-executed plan that prioritizes the security and protection of your vital resources. By diversifying your backup options, concealing your supplies, and cultivating a network of trusted individuals, you can enhance your resilience and increase your chances of weathering any crisis that may arise. In times of major emergencies, it's essential to be prepared and protect your household. When resources are scarce and their distribution needs to be controlled, it's crucial to keep your level of preparedness discreet. Avoid drawing unnecessary attention to your household, as this could make you a target during a crisis. One key aspect of preparedness is to hide some of your emergency supplies. This ensures that your household doesn't solely rely on potentially unreliable government assistance or become overly dependent on outside sources. It's not just about avoiding the risk of seizure. It's about maintaining a sense of self-reliance and resilience in the face of adversity. It's wise to build a small, trusted network of like-minded individuals who can support and assist one another during challenging times. By sharing knowledge, resources, and strategies, you can create a stronger safety net for your community. At the same time, it's important to resist the temptation to become the go-to resource for the entire community. Maintaining a certain level of discretion will help you and your trusted network weather the storm more effectively. Remember, true preparedness is not just about stockpiling supplies. It's about developing a multifaceted approach that includes self-reliance, community collaboration, and a commitment to protecting your household and your way of life, even in the face of major emergencies.